Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
Not too bad, thank you. Yourself?
I'm all right. So Sarge is barking.
Yes.
All right, tell me what's actually happening.
It's more when we're in straight away in the garden. I mean, he is a vocal. He is very a vocal dog, aren't you, mate? Obviously, Nikki mentioned yesterday during the play, it was when we played stuff with the toys about the barking. But when he's outside straight away, he used to run to the end of the garden and just bark consistently. At nothing really. I can't really see what it's not nothing, but I can't see what it actually is he's barking at. So we've got a long garden as well, so we'd be straight down the end. And it's straight away.
All right, and is he fighting to get out of the door to get onto doing that as well? Is he barging? He
isn't now. He does. He can barge his way past people, but he's not assistantly trying to get out the door to go and bark. But as soon as he's out, he's up to the other end of the garden, right at the end. And it is a long garden, so he's straight there barking towards our right-hand side neighbours, the attached side.
And if there's the dogs or anything in there that you're aware of, or
we've got 2 dogs for our neighbour on the detached side. He will bark when they're out, and they will bark, which I mean that's by and by, really, not too bad. But the next door hasn't. They have got a cat. I know they've got a cat. But then so have we.
And does he chase your cats?
He does, yeah.
Okay.
Not all the time, but he can do, yeah, when he wants to play.
So do you think it's possible that maybe on 1 or 2 occasions he's managed to spook a cat at the end of the garden and managed to, surprise a cat who's luckily escaped?
It's quite possible, yeah. We did have a few cats come in the garden as well. There's quite a lot of cats around here.
So from his point of view, the expectation would be that if I run to the end of the garden, I might find a cat to surprise,
Right, yeah.
And then that's exciting, isn't it? The idea that I could do that.
Yeah.
I can affect my environment in that way. Yeah. So what would I do? Well, I'll tell you this for a start. Dodo has the same aims in life. His aim is if he spots a squirrel or something and he's got in the garden, he asks if he can go out, and he's excited to get out there because there's a very, very, very fine chance that he might possibly scare a squirrel and chase a squirrel and maybe possibly catch it one day. So obviously that's all really exciting. Yeah. So what we do first of all is make sure that the chance of him actually gaining that wanted reinforcement is as low as it possibly can be.
Right.
And that when he's leaving, we're not reinforcing that anticipatory kind of feeling by allowing him access through the door while he's in that frame of mind. So in other words, if he's already highly excited before he goes out the door, the opening of the door is like the release to that reinforcement or the potential reinforcement. And then if he also gets the reinforcement of having seen something run in front of him and move in front of him, then that the whole thing gets worse. So comes in 3 bits. 3 bits is, first of all, teach him to be calm in order to get the door to open. Yeah. So doors don't function if you're trying to barge or you're getting overexcited. The only thing that makes the door function is holding yourself back from it. Yeah, so we can show you how to do that. Second thing is prevention, because if there's a chance that he's going to find and reward himself with a chase, then the whole thing falls to pot, So that means long lines in the garden. That means he doesn't go out there to just go out and be free. And I have to say, when I had the same problem with Tyke, and I asked Ian Dunbar what I should do about it, and he said he can't go out in the garden unsupervised, and it you know, it really upset me, because I thought, that's not possible. How am I going to organize my life around that? It's not going to work. And I put all these different barriers up, and he said to me, that's what you've got to do. If you don't do it, the problem will just get worse. And it did get worse, because I didn't do as he said. And it took me 2 years to finally come round to the fact that Ian Dunbar, an expert, said to me, don't give your dog free access to the garden. And when I finally took charge of it, the problem started to improve. So I know it sounds impossible and it sounds hard, but we have to prevent him from getting that. It's a massive internal reward, even if he doesn't catch the animal.
Yeah.
It's a massive internal chemical reward. The dopamine release, the excitement, the adrenaline release of chasing and nearly catching something is so massive. Okay. Then we need to teach him other things that he can do in the garden. So that means training him in the garden. It means teaching him there's other reinforcements and rewards available in the garden, but they're from us. Yeah. So getting playing chasing the ball in return for come and sit and be calm while go get the ball. Yeah. But again, we don't want him going down the end of the garden and practicing the barking, so I would probably still have the long line on for all of that as well.
Oh yeah.
No unsupervised access in the garden, because if you do that, you're just setting him up to get it wrong. You know, you're just setting him up to practice the behavior you don't like.
Right.
So, right then, so doors. So with any behavior, there is always the function of the behavior. Does that behavior work or doesn't it work from the dog's point of view? From the dog's point of view. So what I like to do is I like to teach door sort of etiquette, if you like, by making sure that I've got control of it, of the access straight away from the beginning. And what we're going to do is we're going to give the dog a reason to want to go through the door. So I wouldn't use the problem door and the problem environment to practice it. I would use a different door in the house to practice it initially, and then transfer that onto the other door.
Right.
Okay. It can be a really quick thing to learn. And unfortunately, I think my dogs know it quite well, so they may not demonstrate very well for us, but we'll see if I can set it up so that they'll want to. Can I get rid of some dogs though? Yeah? Yeah, you stay. Maybe. Twiggy, come on. Twig. I know you haven't done a demo today, but you're not in. Come on. Come on, you're too polite about dogs. Get out. Get out. Twig. Out.
That's
oh, you poor doggy. Go on. Go, go, go. Go, go. Go, go, go. Go on. Go on. Go. Go. Okay. So Dodo gets to be the demo dog, which you'll be very happy about. So make sure you've got a view of a door. Okay, I'll show you his whole body. There we go. So to begin with, when I'm practicing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him a really good reason to want to go through the boring door. This isn't the door that's the problem door.
Yeah.
I've got a handful of food. I want him to see. Come here. I want him to see that that handful of food is the other side of that door. Okay? He's seen it. Yeah. He's heard it go down. I'm going to make sure he knows it's there. Then I've got rewards available in my pocket. And what I'm going to do is this two-pronged thing. Come here. If he wants to go through that door, which obviously he does, he needs to step back from it. And that's what I want him to learn. So I'm going to reward him back here, away from. So if I go to open the door, he steps towards it, the door closes. If he holds himself back from it, the reward is over here. You get that? You can't go that way. Get that? Good man. All right. So here's the door. Starts to open a little bit more. He holds himself back. The reward is behind him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If he barges that door or moves towards it at any stage, I'm going to shut it. I'm going to shut it before he gets there. I'm not going to shut it on him. I'm going to shut it as he goes towards it. So I'm keeping my hand on it, ready to go. And every time I move that door a tiny bit, and he manages to maintain that position, the reward is over here. And eventually, I'm going to let him go and get that. Yeah?
Yeah.
When you're letting him out the back door, when you finally transfer this training to the back door, what I want you to make sure is you've already got your long line on and you've already got hold of it, so that when you tell him it's okay to go, you can slow him and you're not letting him go whizzing straight out down to the bottom of the garden, because that's, again, that's too big. That reinforcement and the risk in catching the animal or almost catching the animal is too big. It's too exciting. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, all right. I'm going to do that again. I'm just going to make sure that he really, really knows that they're there. So I'm going to hold him for a second so I know he can't get it wrong. There's the reinforcement. There's the reason for wanting to get out there. Good man. Nice choice. Did you see him look at me instead of looking at the door? Another good choice. He decided to sit. Another good choice. And I can say, okay. So I can make it really clear now you've made a good choice. Yeah. And I think it's a good thing for dogs to learn in general anyway, for every door. We don't want them rushing out onto the street and whatever.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, we don't have that many doors downstairs, but
have you got another door that you can use to practice with that isn't the trouble door?
Yes, yeah, we can, there's something I can use.
If not, then a doggy stair gate you can use. If you've got a kiddie stair gate, doggy stair gate, you can use one of those. It doesn't translate quite so well into the dog's mind because they can see through it.
Yeah.
In a way that they can't see through the door. The next thing then, obviously, now we've got a dog who, instead of building that excitement, he's learning a bit of control at the door. Then we're going to release him into the garden, but we're going to slow that release down using the lead. So we're going to, so a long line lead is one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to break him out of the door. So instead of it, not a yanking stop, but a slide on your hand, so that it's kind of, it's slowing his exit. So he's going without suddenly dashing, is being braked slowly, so as he releases. Then we go out with him. So it's all a bit killjoy-y. I know it is. It's all a bit killjoy. So I'm going to slow him from running crazy to the end of the garden. I'm going to walk down with him to the end of the garden. I'm going to be very calm about it. And then I'm going to start interacting with him in ways that are kind of, there is reinforcement available down here, but it's not exciting. It's kind of sniffing, searching, interacting in ways like playing the what's this game, you know, what's this over here? There's a pile of food over here. What's this over here? There's a pile of food over here. And then at the other end of the garden, where it's not as big of a deal, you don't find him barking so much in the middle section of the garden, then go and play your ball games, your sit for me and I will throw the ball, type game, yeah, where he's offering behavior and you're reinforcing that behavior with Chase, because Chase is going to be his, because of his breed, you know, it's going to be his thing.
Yeah, no, he does like a chase around the garden.
Yeah, and I think that if we're not providing him with Chase as an alternative to what he's doing at the moment, he's going to keep wanting to go there because he really needs it. You know, it's part, it's his genetic makeup. We can't just we can't just say you can't do that anymore and that's it. We have to provide an alternative. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
cool.
What do you think of that bit so far?
Yeah, cool. We'll give it a go, won't we, mate? Yeah. He's he's playful at the minute. It's playtime, isn't it, mate?
It is. Hello, monkey.
Yeah.
So the other thing I quite like to do with border collies is things like, you know, football-sized balls.
And we've got a couple of footballs. He's had a couple of footballs, yeah.
Yeah, where they can learn to sort of push them rather than grab at them.
Okay, yeah.
So, have you heard of this thing called a boomer ball?
No, I'm not sure. Sure.
So it's kind of sort of football.
Is it the frisbee one?
No, it's a ball, but it's football size, but it's made of hard plastic.
Okay.
So they can't be bursted.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's just a little bit too big that as they go to grab it, they can't get their teeth in it. They try, but they're made of really hard plastic. So as they go to bite it, it'll skip away from them. And for a border collie, that's fantastic because they go and it skips away in the same way as if they were herding a sheep or moving a sheep, they'd go to nip at it and it runs away from them. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
But I don't want it to be available until he's already calm in the garden. And then you get it out, you make it available, and it's part of playing with you. Does that make sense? So then we've got this herding, chasing behavior that's being put into an appropriate kind of, you know, it's allowed. And then you can teach him to do things like leave it, wait, go get it again. So almost like sheep type control, you know, where the farmer says down, and then get it. All right. But boomer balls, I'll see if I can find you an example. They're quite expensive, but they last. They last and last. And I've got one, I think it's about 15, 20 years old. Let's see if we can find one on Amazon. There have been a few copies of boomers. And they come in different sizes. I think you need to look at a decent size one. So I'm just trying to find a decent size one. So I like the sort of 9-inch, 6 or 9-inch football sized ones, which I've only seen a tiny one. I'm just searching the internet at the minute. I've only seen a tiny one so far. That's Jolly Pets. There's lots of copies. If you can get an original boomer, maybe not. I wonder whether or not they've gone off making them. I have to have a look at boomer, trademark boomer. Let's have a look. Company of Animals. That's a boomer. Okay, so there's your link. I'll just send you that in the message.
That's lovely, thank you.
You can do the chat and then you can just click on the link in theory. There you go, that's Company of Animals.
Yep.
Boomer ball. And you'll see the photos on there, they're quite big. The only thing I would say with the boomer, if your dog really likes it, then you have to limit their access to them, because if they're anything like Maybe was, when she was younger, she would play boomer until her ears bled. You know, she basically, her brain would explode.
Right.
So it's a limited access toy, and I want to specifically take it into this environment where instead of going out in the garden expecting that super chase to the end of the garden, possibly going to catch an animal, eventually what I would like for him to do is to go out into the garden and go, Daddy, have you got the boomer? Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of but we'll see if that's the way it works out. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely.
Does that sound like it's going to work out for you? Does it sound like there's anything that's just going to be impossible for you to do?
No, that sounds.
I know you're limited for time and whatever, so you know, I don't want to ask you to do something that's not going to fit into your...
No, I think that's good. We can work that one in. We're in the garden quite a lot.
Yeah.
So we're quite an outdoors, so we go out quite a lot.
Beautiful. So things to help him to calm down and focus and go more relaxed in the garden are sniffing, searching type games. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason for the boomer, and as I say, I want to limit access to the boomer, is to allow that outlet for chase and for sort of prey drive, but to have it onto a specific object rather than I practice it in all sorts of different ways on wildlife and things.
Yeah.
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 So it's more learning to be calm and relaxed in the garden, learning to hang out with you. So I would also do things like teaching them to go to their mat in the garden and stay on their mat in the garden, same as you train it everywhere else.
Yeah.
But train it in the garden as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, prevention, definitely, and breaking it down a bit so that we're aware it starts inside. You know, my dogs will do the same. Dodo will be hanging at the living room patio doors, watching to see if there's any movement. Then he'll ask me to come and open the door. And if I forget, and I forget to calm him down, he'll go barreling through the door. And he's done thing. I've separated gardens. The back end of the garden is separated from the patio end by a fence and a gate. And occasionally he's hit that gate so hard that he's taken the catch off the gate to get down to the bottom of the garden. And as far as I'm aware, he's never caught an animal down there, but he must have come quite close on a couple of occasions to make it worth the try.
Yeah.
You know, to make it worth a go. And he also quite likes going down there and just making the chickens flap.
Oh, yeah. Well, a few people down here have chickens and stuff, so I think he can hear them. And we do get a lot of birds in the garden. So
yeah,
it's not cats, it'd be birds as well.
Squirrels, cats, anything that he thinks he might be able to catch. Then, and so I know exactly how you're feeling. With regards to barking at the other dogs, that can be just as kind of reinforcing. If sometimes they're there and sometimes they're not, it's worth going out there barking.
Yeah.
To see if they're going to join in. So again, slowing down the exit and taking control of that super excitement at the beginning before it really gets going is
certainly.
It is a pain coming up to summer because obviously in summertime we want to be keeping our doors open. But I think that unless, and this is one of my reasons for taking so long to take Ian Dunbar's advice, was because I used to want my back door open all of the time and I wanted, you know, free air and free access and stuff. But you really have to accept that if you've got that kind of a dog, then that's not going to be possible until he's managed to learn to be calm in the garden.
Yeah.
Right? If getting access to the garden is always being on guard and always looking for those opportunities to get that brain fizz, then you're always going to have to be careful with it. And it takes a good while, long while before they really get it. So that was my type. And what I did notice was that the more that he was allowed to fence guard and bark, the more likely he was to be reactive with other dogs and things outside in the world.
Yeah.
So if he'd had a bit of a barking fence guarding issue with the dog next door, I could guarantee within the next couple of days he'd have a similar problem with dogs out when he was out on the lead. And vice versa, if he'd had several days of calm in the garden and he hadn't had this fence guarding, then he would be more likely to be able to walk past other dogs and relax a bit around other dogs. So,
Yeah.
you know, the two can go hand in hand.
Right, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you want me to, can I set you off if you can get your camera into a position with a door? I don't know if you can, but we'll set you up with this door.
Might be able to.
What does your shirt say? This is my what?
Sorry?
What does your shirt say?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I like it. Where did you get that? I want one.
It was a gift from my mum and dad. It was my birthday on Friday, so.
Oh, one.
So it was a gift.
Oh. Okay.
So I'm not sure where they got it from. It's going to be a bit hard with me phone, I think.
Yeah, it is awkward getting your phone to balance in exactly the right place. That's why I ended up buying one of these cameras for the computer in the end, because I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I usually use Nikki's work computer, but maybe try one.
That's good. That's a nice view.
Right? Yeah.
What are you winning?
I'm not daddy. I'm just doing some dog training for Sarge, okay? Right, well, I have to wait for you to come in and out. We just have to wait for the food to come in and out.
Yeah, all right, darling.
That's the moment. But yeah, now I like that boomer ball idea. That sounds good. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Hey, mate. Hey, yeah. We're gonna try some training. Yeah. He's off. Where you go?
So first things first, obviously give him a reason to want to run through the door. So something thrown on the other side of the door.
Yeah, I've just got to wait for Nikki to come back.
Okay,
yeah.
done.
Sorry.
All right. I didn't know. I didn't understand.
It's a one-way access.
Sorry.
That's all right. You got to pack lunch.
Yeah. Just get it when I'm ready.
Hello.
All right, Dean.
Right, Bella, put these on for you. Okay, sorry, we're at the list.
No, that's okay. Drive safe, won't you? Bye, Fabian. I'll see you later. Okay. All right. You got your pack lunch? All right.
Even I got perfume.
You've got perfume. I thought I could smell something. It smells wonderful.
Bye, Bob.
See you later. Drive safe. Okie dokie.
Okay, so for Sarge, we're going to break it down into tiny little steps. So I don't want you, I know I went quite quick opening the door.
Yeah.
But your door opening to be tiny amounts with lots and lots of rewards for good choices.
Right, yeah.
So don't be swinging it as quickly as I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and be ready to shut it instantly. Instantly,
No.
he makes a move that looks like he's going to think about moving towards it. All right, so hold on to his collar while you throw whatever it is through the door, so he can't get it wrong. Make sure he sees them go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Shut the door, let him go. Shut the door completely. So we start. The first stage is the hand touches the handle. Yeah.
Okay.
Your dog recognizes that people put their hands on handles in order to open doors. Yeah. Where is he? I can't see him. Is he close by? Does it look as if he's interested at all?
Now he's done a runner.
He's done a runner. Okay.
Yeah. Now here he comes. You come back now, have you, mate? You remember what's on the other side of the door?
Fine. So now, yeah, he's not interested in training now. He says, I don't even. So just throw a few bit more out of there. Make sure he sees it go, but make sure he can't barge past you to get it.
Sarge. Sarge. What's this? What's this? Come here. Come on. What's this? Hey. Hey. You see? You see?
Good boy. And give him a piece now. Give him a piece of food while your hand's on the handle.
Good boy.
Put him back a bit. So we don't just hand it to him. I want his head turning away from the door to get that food. Okay. Open it slightly. And he's being still. So now reward him. Turn his head away from the door.
Come on.
Yeah. Turn him away each time when you reward him.
Good boy.
Head away from the door.
Good boy.
That's it.
Oh, it's sat now.
That's good. So reward him, turn his head away. Watch those little, you know, when he's looking and he's looking as if he's going to dive.
Yeah.
I want him ready to slam that door. I don't want it slamming on him. So it's got to close before he gets there. Good. Reward him behind his head.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
And tell him he can go.
Right, come on. Go on. Go on. He knows he can get it off me. He knows you can get it off me, don't you? What's that? Go on. You can go. Go on.
Okay, go through the door with him and point him out. What can happen with border collies is they can get suspicious and think that you're going to shut the door and shut them out.
Yes, he does get suspicious about that.
Yeah. So he might be worried that you're going to close the door and make him stay out of the room. Yeah. Yeah,
I think he does go in there sometimes to be out the way.
Absolutely. So if necessary, then use the back door as your training. But then you've got the additional bit that when you do release him to go get the treats, you do have to already have that long line on.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it might just go straight past the treats because they're not as exciting or interesting as the opportunity to go past and chase to the bottom of the garden. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I would do, the other thing you can do maybe, if you haven't been trapping him in the living room, you might find that he's happier to train in the opposite direction.
Right.
Run into the living room to get the reward. So you're still able to practice the door. The difficulty is obviously most back doors move in towards you.
Yes. Yeah.
So from the dog's point of view, it's a different thing because the door is moving into you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're doing it the other way, the door's moving out away from you. Yeah. But yeah, I could see what was going on. I could see that he was worried that you were going to just shut it and con him in staying out there, which is why step with him, go in front of him as you did. And if you can learn to do that, that's perfect as well, because that means that when you release him into the garden, you're going first, which means it's going to be easier to slow him down as he exits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then try doing it with 3 dogs. It's hilarious. Do you want to see me do it with 3?
Yeah, it'd be that'd be cool.
It's weird. Oh, did you copy that Boomable link?
Yes, I think it's saved it somewhere.
Yeah.
I think I've lost it. I think it's saved.
So chat in your chat box.
Yeah.
Back out of your view. So she's the monster. She likes to barge doors. So we're going to throw some biscuits out there. Ready? Come here.
Yep.
Okay. Just
What? Good one.
gonna do something to make sure this stays.
Shh. Right, good boy. Huh?
Okay, so roll this side. They know there's something worth having that side. My little door bargey girly. Shut it. If she steps back, she gets rewarded there. There's a nice little look.
Hope you're watching.
Turning her all the way away from the door. If she steps towards it, the door closes. If she continues to step towards it, I'm going to lock it and I'm going to take my hand off. And he did you see he walked backwards away from it? She's holding herself still. She's just got the message. So
Yeah.
I'm going to reward her. Here comes the door. Nice choice. Nice choice. Nice choice. That is a beautiful choice. Well done. See Twiggy, the tall one, she just had a real good look. She went, shall I? So I started to swing the door shut.
Yeah.
The more she comes towards it, the more closed it gets. The more she holds herself back from it, the more chance of reward for being here. Yeah, and we stay very calm about it. We don't have to say anything, but we do have to make it really obvious that behavior doesn't work. That behavior does. When you've got 3, they all control the door. Yeah? So if
Yeah.
they move towards the door closes. They hold themselves back away from the door. Good choice. See, she thought about it, so I semi-closed it. Okay. You get bowling balls where they all sort of bash off each other. And she's not daft. She said, no point me going there, they're already there. They've all got it okay. Right. Oh.
Yeah.
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 And that's, and I have to say, you have to recognize that things don't just suddenly happen. That's a lot of practice. And they still ask, what about now? They still say, what if I just?
Yeah.
It's about us using our human brain to make sure that we're not giving it away, that we're not allowing them to get access to that massive reward, which is that brain chemistry of, oh, go down the back of the garden, maybe I'm going to be able to catch that cat or that squirrel or that bird or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Does that feel like it's doable for you?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Does it feel like, because I don't want to leave you feeling, I don't want to feel like I've helped when maybe I haven't. Does it feel like it should help with the problem that you've been having, or?
I think it's, yeah, it'd be worth a go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see why it wouldn't do anything that wouldn't be not a help. I'm trying to think of me with proper words.
Yeah.
I can't see why it
What's
wouldn't
he
help.
looking at just now? What's he going?
He still wants to play.
He said,
Still play time.
yeah. So I think the thing is with the dog who's naturally a woofy person, and to be honest, Border Collies, we did design them to do that because that's a really good way of moving sheep. you know, bark at them and snap at them. These are natural behaviors that we've bred into them. So what you've got to be very careful with all dogs, but especially collies, noisy, but especially collies, is that you're not accidentally rewarding the behaviors you don't like.
Yeah.
You know, so that if you're trying to shut him up from woofing by giving him the thing he wants,
it's not gonna have
gonna
the opposite effect. Yeah.
Because woofing makes you give him the thing he wants.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, and the same with the door. Moving towards the door makes the door close. Holding back from the door makes the door open. With toys and play, you make sure that the last thing that happens before you throw the ball is that he's shut his mouth and he's being silent. You know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And you throw that silence from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, what I have been doing, I've been taking the toys and putting them in, like taking them away, and then saying not saying no, but saying time for something else, and then giving him. Then he likes yaks. He chews on the yaks at the minute. He loves the yaks, so I give him a chewy and say chew this instead, and he will do. More often than not, he'll say okay, and he'll go and chew it, and it seems to work.
Yeah, because they can become so addicted to these excitement hormones in their brains that they've got no idea how to just switch off and relax. If we don't teach them, you know, like you're saying, that's the yakkers are fantastic. I love them. They don't last. They're too expensive for me because these lot are just such strong chewers.
Yeah, he goes through it quick. He does go through it quick, but he loves them. So,
do you know what I'm using at the moment? Is ostrich bones.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
So ostrich bones. My dogs can go through normal bones really, really quickly. You know, from butcher bones and things, they can go through them really, really quickly. But the ostrich bones, there's something different. I don't know about. They just last. They last for ages. So it's worth a look at if you're looking for other options, chew wise.
Yeah, lovely. I've made a note of that.
Yeah.
Obviously, we was a bit worried of what chewies to give him. Obviously, we didn't know because of his age which ones are the best ones to give.
So with all of the chewies, what I'm looking for is it a natural product? In other words, it hasn't been pissed about, but you know, it's not been had glues added and things like that. So I don't want to go with things like rawhide chews because they're quite highly processed.
Right, yeah.
I'm looking for either meats that have just been dried or parts of animals that have just been dried and there's no additives or preservatives or colors. So things like, well, I'll tell you what, if I add to your chat, the company called JR Pet Products.
Right, yeah.
That's where we get our meat sausages from. And they do all sorts of bits of dried animal that are 100% just the animal, nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So things like braided lamb, which is just dried lamb skin, I think. Things like hairy cow's ears.
Okay.
But you know, they've got to cut the ears off. We might as well use them if someone's eating cow. We might as well not waste, not want not. Pig's ears. Now, sometimes companies do dye them and make them funny colours and add all sorts of things to them, but you can get natural pig's ears that have just been dried. Yeah. Pizzle sticks, which is a bit gross, is bull's willies that have been dried.
Okay.
Tendons, cow tendons. When they're dry, they're quite difficult to chew and
Right,
long kind of chew.
Yeah.
So loads of things. So the only other thing that I would be sort of focusing on is what's my dog's style? What is their chew style? What's their preference? Do they get it to the back of their mouth and they want to really bite down hard on it? Or are they kind of use the front of the mouth and pull on it kind of style? And if I've got a back tooth chewer, the concern there is that they tend to be the dogs that will chunk off a big and swallow it.
Yeah.
So for them, you've got to be careful with things like bones, that they're not chunking bone down in big lumps, because then it could occlude the gut. Yeah. That they're properly chewing down on it and breaking it into little bits and then swallowing it. And with the ones that like to strip things, I want them to be able to get that sensation of stripping. So that would be raw meat bones where they've got to pull the, or whole animals. You can buy things like whole rabbits and things like that. It's a bit gross, but you know, it's a carnivore. When all's said and done, they do like to have a bit of doing what they originally did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want dogs, if I'm giving any chew item, I would rather it was designed to be edible or designed to be indestructible.
Right, yeah.
So the Kongs are really, really good for stuffing other foods into, because for most dogs they're indestructible.
He has got a few Kongs.
Yeah.
He has got one that he uses a lot. He bashes about the room. It's like a pyramid tower spinning thing. I'm sure I've described that all right, haven't I? And we put treats in that and he likes that. So
Yeah.
I mean, he likes his teddies, so we just get him cheap teddies and he destroys them.
Yeah.
He's got a few. Yeah.
So again, with them, that's the kind of dog that likes to dissect. He likes to get hold of things and rip. And that's fine, as long as he doesn't then swallow any of the material or the...
Oh yeah, it all goes in bin when it's on the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big chewer, because he's had to go at the settees, hasn't he, mate?
And the thing is, if we don't provide for that need, because it's a normal behavior for a dog, if we don't provide for that need, they are going to go and find something else to take it out on.
Yeah, I mean, we're not too bothered about the sofa. It was a freebie.
But
it's an old sofa, but
you know, if you've got, it sounds like you've got a puller. He prefers to grab something and pull. What you can do is, if you put a fixing or a solid, really solid piece of heavy furniture and fasten things like rope to it, knot it, so that then the dog spends ages pulling at it, nagging at it, and eventually, you know, they'll get it off and just replace it or just put it back on again. So if you've got that kind of dog that enjoys that sensation, that real kind of ripping feeling as they pull on something, then that's one way you can kind of get it for them, is set them up with these objects that they can really rag at.
Yeah. Cool. Right. You'd like that, wouldn't you, mate? He likes playing tug. He likes playing tug of war.
Well, I used to do Tyke was one of those, and I used to he came to work with me when he was tiny, and he used to be fastened, because it wasn't a spare cage, he was fastened by a lead to the nearest object that was secure. So it turned out to be a very old-fashioned, thick piped radiator that he was secured to. And of course, then what he would start doing is what any puppy would do, is he'd chew through his lead, and then you'd find him, I'd be in the middle of work and there'd be a border collie next to me. Not really appropriate. Yeah. So what can I give him to do? Well, you gave him Kongs and things to do while he was there, but then they'd roll away from him. So this idea of this tied rope came from necessity, trying to find something for him to do. So I'd go and I would tie this rope, several knots, to the radiator, same radiator as leads fastened to, and he would spend ages unpicking the knots and then pull the ragger off, and then somebody would come along and just tie it back on again. And that's all he'd spend pretty much 8 hours of the day untying this knot. and it worked really well for him. So sounds like that might be something that you could do.
Yeah, no, that definitely sounds like something to give a go at, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay, so any other concerns then?
No, don't think so. Obviously, I think we'd be looking to do some more one-to-ones anyway. We want to keep it going.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah, any excuse, as far as I'm concerned, any excuse to get my hands on your border collie, the better.
yeah. No, we love it. We'd like to do some more one-to-ones. If we're able to, me and Nikki would both like to come at the same time and bring in.
And we can use indoors now as well. It's so exciting.
Yeah. So now we'd like to continue the one-to-ones. When we've got some time, we'll try and book some in.
Yeah.
It's just be beneficial, and you'll enjoy it, won't you? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it, won't you, mate? No, that's lovely. Yeah.
Good. All right. So have fun shopping. Have fun playing with your door games.
Yeah.
Let me know how you're getting on, because obviously with all advice and behavior, what I don't want is for you to go away, try something, find it's not working, and then not get back to me about it, because
No, definitely.
I need to know if it needs to be getting better.
Yeah.
It won't go away straight away, because it sounds like he's had quite significant fun playing this particular little border collie game, chasing to the end of the garden, and so it's not going to be a quick fix, but what you should be seeing is less of the excitement, less of that explosive behavior to the end of the garden.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, well, I'll try and find out where Mum and Dad got this from as well.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
And even if you can find it, if there's got one that says, instead of dog walking, my dog training.
Yeah.
Great. This is my dog training shirt. Yeah.
I'll find out. I'll try and find out and let you know.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.